Comic Book Savant, episode 490. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant podcast. I'm your host, James Harris. This episode is going to be one that I just want to go over some things that I've brought up in previous episodes, talking about the launch of Comic Book Savant 2.0. I know a lot of you might be wondering what was I meaning by that. I kept kind of teasing and hinting at certain things, and I wanted to take this time in this episode to break down what I'm essentially doing is a relaunch of the actual show at this point, or the platform which is known as Comic Book Savant. As of the time you're hearing this episode, this is the anniversary date of the show. Because I'm dyslexic and I never can keep up with it quite right. The podcast, if you're unfamiliar, I have been doing this podcast since August of 2006. So we've had 14 complete years behind us, and this is going into year 15 of me doing the podcast. You might have heard me say different things in the past. I might have already said 15. I always get it confused because I've just been doing the show for a long time, and it all runs together for me. And plus, I'm dyslexic, so that's a whole nother thing with me and numbers. I always get them jumbled up, and half the time, I don't know what I'm saying. So please forgive me on that. But this is actually launching into year 15 of the show. So August 2021 would be 15 years at me doing this show. As of this episode, this is episode 490, so we're coming close to episode 500, which will be another big, tremendous milestone for the show. But really, in doing the show and being totally independent and doing the show, as far as a one man, as far as recording, editing, production, all those different aspects of it, a lot of things I did and modified on the fly without taking time and taking a break to really look at how to do what I do to provide content for you guys more efficiently. I know a lot of that has to do with a lot of personal things that I've had to deal with. I've had a lot of health issues over the past decade that has hampered at times me producing the show, but due to your guys' support and just being always supportive and understanding, my wife, my family, it's allowed me to kind of get to a place now where a lot of my health issues that I've battled for the past decade, I've gotten in check, still working on certain things, but a lot of it, I'm probably the healthiest I've been in over a decade, probably, in the past 20 years, essentially, this is the healthiest I've been. So I've taken a lot of time this summer and really thought about retooling the show and how to be more efficient and getting you content across all levels of the show. If you just listen to this main podcast, if you support the show on Patreon, on that platform, if you watch or you listen to the show on YouTube, I provide content across many different platforms, and I will continue to do so. But with this relaunching of the show, it's just me taking it from a hobby to something a little bit more serious, and I want to grow it. I've gotten so many encouraging messages over the years from you guys saying you should have more listeners, you should have more followers, you should be known more. So I really took it seriously and taking a whole new approach going into the 15th year of doing the show. So first and foremost, you're going to be getting more content from me. You're going to be seeing content come out on a more, I was doing once a week. If you on the main podcast, you got a show every Tuesday, you had a new episode. Now I'm looking at the schedule. More than likely it's going to be Monday, Tuesday. I'll actually post it. I thought I had it in front of me, but I don't. I apologize for that. But you're going to be getting content 3 times a week on the main podcast feed. Actually, I think I do have it written down here. Give me 1 second. excuse me. Okay, so here it is. I actually put it in the wrong place. So far as the content release schedule, once this relaunch goes into effect, I'm looking to launch this on September 1st. At latest, it might be October 1st, just because it's a lot of stuff personally, unexpected stuff that's came up. I don't want to really get into a lot of personal family stuff that's going on. It's kind of thrown a wrench in how smoothly, but I'm still pushing as hard as I can to launch this as of September 1st, but it might launch October 1st, but I'll let you guys know in an update, if that's not going to be the case. But content is going to be releasing on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday is how I'm looking to have content released going forward with the shows. Far as what you currently know now, the other biggest thing that I wanted to tackle in going forward is how to kind of streamline the episode types. I know sometimes you guys will ask me, have you done an episode on this? Have you done an episode on that? And I try to remember, but after so long of doing the shows, it kind of runs together. I try to keep a note system in place, and I try to do things like I'll update the web page, but so many different things. As far as like I'll have, I actually sat down, and my wife helped me out tremendously. So, babe, thank you so much for taking the time to kind of help me get organized, because I didn't realize how much over the years, how, like something like the example of top 10 list. The top 10 list episodes or top 10 episodes turned into my favorite this or that, to countdown to something else. They morphed over time. So I was like, okay, I need to kind of streamline and bring everything in together in a more condensed format, so you guys know exactly by the title what kind of episode it is, so you would know what's going on. So here's the kind of breakdown on how content is going to be released going forward. So again, you're going to have Binge at Your Leisure are going to be anything TV related that's a TV related episode. So if you hear that, you know that it's me reviewing comic book related TV shows of any sort. That's what's going to be covered in those episodes. Now, the list, which you formerly knew as top 10 or countdown episodes, that will be what that consists of. It's any kind of list, my best of, my favorites of all time, any kind of list that I'm doing a countdown related episode. It's just called the list now. Comic Sense. This is just comic book related episodes of any sort, like comic book reviews. If you are on Patreon, I do first reads. I've done a couple of those on here, so where I read the first issue of a comic and review it to recommend it or not recommend it. Anything that you've known under that kind of umbrella previously, if it's comic book related, simply comic book related in any sort of me reviewing any type of comic book or talking about any type of comic book related topic, it's going to be known as Comic Sense, and you'll see that heading in the title. Reel to Reel, which is REEL to Real, like film reel to real life. That's movie related episodes going forward. So Reel to Real, you'll know that's me doing a movie review, animated movie review, fantasy castings. Any of that kind of content that I've done previously will be under Reel to Real. The Ask Comic Book Savant related episodes, they're just going to be now called Got Questions. So when you see that, that's going to be one of those episodes where it's a Ask Me Anything type format episode. That will fall under Got Questions. The Man Behind the Mic, that was Behind the Mic related episodes. That's more geared towards the Patreon listeners. And why I'm addressing both is for multiple reasons, because this episode is going to be put out on the main podcast, also for my Patreon subscribers as well, so everyone is aware of the changes, and we're all on one accord on when content drops. You understand what it is and how it ties into the bigger picture of the show and how I am going to be doing things moving forward. So those are episodes that you get on the Patreon, but just so you guys are aware of it, that's what they're going to be called now. The Man Behind the Mic instead of Behind the Mic, just slight change. Next is going to be Spotlight. Those are all the episodes that I did previously that were creator, character, series, Spotlight episodes. They're just going to be called Spotlight now. A moment of clarity, which is what I consider this episode as, is basically those comic book discussion related episodes. That's what you're going to get when you see a moment of clarity. They're more like long form discussion type podcasts where I'm talking about a particular subject, be it related to the show directly or a topic in the comic book industry that I've done before. Those more thought pieces, longer form kind of content, more thoughtful pieces kind of thing. Then we're still going to have Spinner Rack Bros, which me and Heath do on here on the podcast channel. We probably will be doing video just with the pandemic and all the craziness going on. Everything is still cool with me and Heath. It's just been crazy for both of us, for all of us. So it's just been harder to line things up. And I've been working hard behind the scenes on revamping the show. So he's allowed me to do that, but we're going to be coming back with those episodes and also videos that will be going on the YouTube channel as well. And I also have a series called The Fundamentalist. It's one that I primarily have done on YouTube previously, which is kind of like a more in-depth recommended list. It's like a breakdown of a character and their history in comics, and reading and what books to read if you're being introduced newly to the character, what you might want to read, what are some of the essentials kind of stories. It's a more amplified recommended reads that I was doing, that was suggested by Chris Rivers originally as episode type to do on YouTube, and I had been, I was doing it, so I'm going to continue to pick that up because that was really popular there. So I will be continuing on, but those are going to be all the kind of tiers of episode types that'll be coming out through all the different platforms that you need to be aware of. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is support of the show. This is a one-man operation. I have a Patreon. I have a handful of Patreon subscribers. I know things are crazy during the pandemic, so I've never expected at any point to push anything. I'm always about if you like the content I do, you want to help to support me and support what I do and growing the show and help allow me to do the content, then do so. It's not something you're required to do, but I am looking at for most of these past years, from the very beginning, I've pretty much primarily funded the show. I've had few sponsorships here and there. I've ended all of those relationships. I'm currently working on new partnerships to bring in more sponsorship to help generate revenue, because it costs to do a show like this. I've shown you guys like different updates and upgrades I've made to the office. I take what I do very seriously. I don't really do anything half-cocked. I put a lot of effort. I've put a lot of my personal and my family finances into improving the show. You guys, like I said, through Patreon, that has helped. But I have a small, far as the amount of listeners that I have month to month to what actually what it costs is minimal. It doesn't even cover all the costs of just straight out producing the show. Like I said, it's a lot of cost to it. I do it because I love it. But I'm trying to take it to the next level. So it's always something that, how they always say it takes a village to raise a child. It's always basically one of those situations. That's why I put something like Patreon in place. So if you value the content and you have it to support the show, to do so. So I wanted to talk about the Patreon because I did a whole revamp to Patreon as well. And I think all the Patreon supporters, past or present, on their support, because it has allowed me like flexibility to the money that I get from the Patreon helps me purchase comic books or movies that I review to do content for the show, and goes towards costs of producing the show, and it helps a lot. So I don't want to disregard that in any way, but more support could be needed. It's still things that need to be done. At the point I'm going to be doing this content, I need more help. Even if you can't, and I always have said this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, because the growth I have gotten is from you guys, you listeners, this community, this family that we've built. That if you have a specialty in an area, like if you can edit, if you can do cover art, things like that you can contribute or donate those resources and that help to me. Again, I'm totally a one-man operation as far as everything that I do as far as creating. I don't just do the main podcast. I do this show weekly, which is going to be amped. Like I said, it's going to be more content released on Patreon. It's the same thing, and then on YouTube. And I've slacked off on YouTube just as I've been for most of the past year, just getting myself together after I had surgery. I've talked about that before and all that. And then the pandemic happened. It's been a lot of craziness, so I've slacked off on YouTube. I'm going to start back shooting videos shortly. Probably by the time you hear this, or by the time the relaunch happens, it'll be new videos coming out on YouTube as well. I haven't forgotten or abandoned the platform. I'm still trying to grow that as well to help grow the community and the reach of the show. But here's a breakdown of kind of the tiers on Patreon to make you guys aware. I kept the base of what I always promised on Patreon similar, but what is being offered is what is different. I have 4 tiers. I originally, when I launched Patreon, I said tiers would go from $1 to $7. I would never change it or exceed it. But what I'm offering, what is being offered at each tier has changed, and I'm offering more, and I'm trying to make it more as a value added, that you're getting more bang for your buck coming from joining the Patreon and for your support of the show. I want it to be value added, that you're getting more value for you supporting the show. You're getting something that you feel like is worthwhile. You're not just giving me, hey, I'm just giving this guy money and I'm not getting any bonus from it. Now, if you just want to support the show and to show love to the show, it's a Patreon tier that's called the Silver tier. It is just for $1 a month. It's you just helping to make the podcast channel and website a reality. At $1 tier, you don't get any special benefits. It's just, hey, you want to support the show by donating $1 a month. It helps. I'm working on something to actually, after you get or if you're a supporter after 6 months in a year, you get some kind of reward for hitting those milestones as a patron for supporting at that tier. So I'm working on that as we speak, trying to figure out exactly what it's going to be, but it will be something, but it will be coming down further down the road because I have to work out all the details about that, which I am currently. But I don't know if it's going to be up and running by September, far as that part of it. But as soon as it will become available and you hit those out, that will be explained at that time. On the gold tier, which is a $3 tier, you get the Patreon exclusive podcast feed, which is Comic Book Savant Extra. You get early access to the main podcast feed, and you get the Man Behind the Mic episodes, which is kind of basically a behind the scenes, uncut, raw, filtered of what's myself and my day-to-day grind. It's just really like a behind the scenes podcast where I just talk to to fans in the community directly on what's going on with me, what it takes to produce the show across the multiple platforms, all that kind of stuff. It's done extremely well on Patreon to this point. People tend to enjoy those episodes, so that's something that you would get at the gold tier. At the platinum tier, which is the $5 tier, you also you get the benefits from the previous tier, far as you get the Comic Book Savant extra feed, early access to the main podcast feed, the Man Behind the Mic episodes. You get online recognition on the website for being a Patreon supporter, and you will get the reel-to-reel animated review podcast episodes. Those are exclusively a Patreon thing, so you get those at the platinum tier at $5 a month. At the diamond tier, which is the top tier at $7 a month, you get all the benefits from the previous one. So you get the Comic Book Savant extra podcast feed, the Man Behind, early access to the main podcast, the Man Behind the Mic episodes, the online recognition on the website, the animated reel-to-reel podcast episodes. Your name gets featured on the end credits on YouTube videos. You have access to a private Facebook group that's called the Secret Society of Savant. So it'll be just for diamond tier members that you would have access to a separate group just for those top tier supporters, that they would have priority access to me and would have input on different aspects of upcoming episodes and things like that. You also would be a part of a monthly newsletter that would give you updates and give you previews of episodes and content that I'm working on for future releases. And you get special edition podcast episodes as well that are more longer form, and you get quarterly membership rewards. So each quarter you would get different things. So I'm working on specific merchandise that I want to get, but I don't know if I can get stuff branded with the show and the logo on it just yet. But that's something that's coming that you'll know about on Patreon as that time comes. So again, I wanted to really make it beneficial for you supporting the show, and that you feel like you're getting something. So I show just as much appreciation as I can to you guys for helping support me to make my dreams possible of producing a podcast and making it something good for you. So that's kind of the layout of where I'm trying to take the podcast. So, I definitely hope it's something that you guys are excited about. I'm super excited. I've done it. Like I said, it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of, I'm working on, episodes now to get ready for the relaunch in September. Like I said, I'm hell bent on trying to get everything in order and launch. It's a big undertaking, because if after you've done something for this long and you've kind of done it by the seat of your pants and didn't take a real, not saying I didn't take a professional approach, because I worked hard and tried to be as professional as possible in doing it, but just as being one person and scrambling, trying to read, watch, write, record, edit, post, work on the website, work on the YouTube videos, shoot the YouTube videos, be the talent in the edit. It's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of balls that I juggled. And like I said, things were just messy, and it was really trying to streamline it. Another thing I wanted to talk about too, about the relaunch of Comic Book Savant 2.0, episodes will be shorter than what you're more accustomed to. So instead of, most episodes might range anywhere from 25 to 45 minutes. Most episodes, because you're going to be getting more episodes a week, the more will be around the range of 15 to 20 minutes roughly, with certain special episodes like this might exceed that and might be more of the 40, 45 minute, hour long episodes, or those special episodes that I'm talking about, where maybe where a man behind the mic or the Ask Me Got Questions episodes, where I'm doing a Q&A. Those episodes will be longer, of course, because of the format of them. But the reviews, they're going to be like one topic, short bites, but you'll get, like I said, you're going to get 3 episodes a week compared to just one. So I'm still, still going to be the same far as time. You're probably going to get more. You're getting more content. You're going to be getting basically far as minutes. If you break down the minutes per episode you're getting, it's going to be the same, if not more than before. You're just getting it more spread out. And then if it's certain episodes that you like, because I know certain, I've heard feedback from you guys that certain types of episodes you like more than others. Like you might like the Comic Sense ones where I'm doing comic reviews more so than you might want to hear a binge at your leisure. With this kind of schedule that I'm looking to do, you'll know exactly what's coming out when. And like if you're on Patreon, you're going to have access to certain content that certain specific episodes that you might be into more than others, and there's nothing wrong with that. So the schedule that I'm looking at this point, Tuesdays will be Comic Sense related episodes, so they're going to be more your comic book related episodes. Thursdays will be Binge at Your Leisure and the List episodes. They'll fluctuate between those. So you'll get your TV related stuff and the countdown list, the countdown type episodes. And then on Saturday, there'll be the reel to reel episodes. So there'll be the movie review episodes. So you'll get that content. And when I say Comic Sense, to kind of give you what I kind of classify under those comic book related episodes, that's the new series. I did like the longest short of it, the recommended reads, the first reads, the comic book reviews, the comic book hauls, the comic book collector's guide, the bargain bins. They're all comic book related content. reel to reel or comic book movie reviews, fantasy movie castings, the retro movie reviews. Um, the list are the top 10 in the countdown episodes. Like I said, binge at your leisure, or just the television show reviews that really are covered in those episodes. So I hope I did a good job. Certain ones, because there was so many different named episodes that I had in there. A lot of stuff I retired because a lot of it was redundant and just different names for the same thing. So certain things I just did away with to condense it to, hopefully, my hope is to make it something easier for you to follow and to keep up with. And you can kind of have a schedule, a content release schedule that oh, it's Tuesday. So you can come here and find content that you enjoy and you want to listen to. And you not be like, oh, this week I really don't like that. Well, no, you just know those days I'm not going to go here. But, oh, Thursday, he's going to do a binge at your leisure or a list episode. I like those episodes. So Thursday I tune in. I wanted to make it more of an appointment kind of viewing schedule that you didn't feel pressure to listen to, 1 week for an episode you might not like, and you didn't know when certain episodes were going to come out. Now you know roughly what type of content is coming. You might not know the specific topic, but I like comic book reviews, Comic Sense Tuesdays, or binge at your leisure or list Thursdays, and Saturday's the weekend. Okay, he's doing movie reviews. I can skip it because I'm not a fan of movie reviews, or I haven't watched this particular movie. Okay, I'll wait till I've seen this movie to listen to that spoiler review. So hopefully these things are helpful to you. Once you listen to this, I'm always open to feedback, and I cannot stress to you guys enough that feedback is like everything. That's kind of what led me to know it was time to kind of revamp things, because things had got so cluttered and muddled and hard for you guys to find and access. So I had to do something to make the process for me more streamlined and easier for you. Even if you've been around for the 15 years or you just found me today, that it would be easier for you to find the content that you wanted to listen to that I've done. We have 490 episodes and way more to come. So it's a lot to sift through if you're new and you're trying to figure out, has he talked about this? Then you can hopefully with this find it. And how I organize stuff on the website and all that, I'm working on that as well. That might take after the 2.0 relaunch, because I'm trying to do all the heavier stuff first, and that's more back end after I get going again, because it's only me doing a lot of it. Like I said, I'm getting some help from my wife and my family, kind of help me organize things and keep me on task, but it's still a huge undertaking because it's so much content. Things have to be relabeled, reshuffled, new content has to be, formatted, and I have to figure out how to do that. Far as sponsorships, it's a necessary evil because, again, it costs. I had one sponsor for a long time. I'm not going to talk about that. That partnership ended. I'm doing different things now, but looking to potentially bring on new sponsors that'll be helpful to you guys, that are going to be things that I tried, I believe in, that I trust, that I recommend. I'll never just for money recommend something I haven't tried or I don't believe in. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But my hope is that by me doing what I'm doing and putting this effort in, that you guys just that you guys support the show mainly through Patreon, and I don't have to do ads and all that kind of stuff. But I know it's a necessary evil because, it has to be less out of my pocket and more self-sustained, because it's grown tremendously from when I started 15 years ago with a stick microphone in the corner of my house doing it to, I have a 2-computer, 4-monitor setup with a professional studio mic, and like the game has changed, so the stakes are higher. So my hopes is making it self-sustainable and keep growing and become a bigger thing. More merchandise to come. I'll be pushing those things more so that I can rely on your guys' support by creating cool things that you want to buy that will go back into the show. I don't want to hand out. If you like what I do, if you love what I do, if you've been with me, for a long time, if you can, I know more than anyone how crazy things are right now. So everyone might not have $1, $3, $5, $7. If you do and you can, do so. If you can't and you can buy a t-shirt or buy, whatever when you can, that goes a long way. If you can send me feedback and tell me things you like, things that I need to improve on, that helps tremendously. You retweet, repost, tell a friend about it. All these things help. Everything helps. So don't feel like I'm coming at you on just like for just, hey, just money and this is a cash grab. No, I think I've been here long enough. To my own expense to do all these things and to do this, and it's because I love to do it, but I want to see it flourish and do more. That's the thing that I've heard the most, and I think this was really motivating this in me more than anything. I've heard so many people say your content's so good, why aren't you bigger? I've been distracted. I can own that. I've had tremendous health issues that I've had to deal with, and it has distracted me from putting the time and the effort needed to grow this. So that's no longer an excuse. So I refuse to give up now, and I refuse just to settle. So to do it, though, I need your help just as well as I need the support from my family, and my own, my own determination. So we're going to do it together. We've gotten to this point by doing it together. We're going to continue to do it that same way. This is everything to me. I can't give this up. I refuse to give it up. I've put too much blood, sweat, and tears in it to give it up now and to see it not be to where I fully see it in my mind and my heart, and where you guys have told me you've seen it in your mind and your heart. So we're going to make it happen however we can, however long it takes. That's what we're going to do. But that's all I have for you guys for this episode. Again, this is an anniversary. It's a celebration. We're going into year 15. I really can't believe it. From the first episode I did and how horrible it was to where I'm at now. Never thought it would happen. Never thought I would see 490 episodes. Never thunk it. But it's here, and that's what we got. So we're going to keep doing what we do to the best of our ability. Thank you for your time. As always, I'm your host, James Harris. This is the Comic Book Savant podcast. As always, until next time, you guys stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.